Jake Morrison walked through the huge glass doors of the Galactic Council building. His hands shook a little, but he kept his face calm. For 30 years, he had been Earth's main speaker to the aliens who ruled the galaxy. Today might be his. Last day doing this job, the council room was bigger than any building Jake had ever seen on Earth. The walls went up so high, he could barely see the top. Hundreds of alien beings sat in rows around the room. Some looked like giant jellyfish floating in glass tanks. Others were made of living rock that never moved. The strangest ones looked like ghosts that appeared and disappeared every few seconds. In the center of everything sat the High Judge, a being made of pure light trapped inside a glowing ball. Her voice came from speakers placed around the room, so everyone could understand her. Today, we talk about the human town called New Horizon, the High Judge said. Her voice sounded like music, but Jake knew she was not his friend. The Star Empire says they own that place first. They want all humans to leave right now. Jake had known this day would come. For months, the Star Empire had been taking human worlds one by one. Every time, the Council said the aliens were right and the humans were wrong. They used old laws written millions of years ago, long before humans even existed. Behind Jake stood Lisa Hayes, a soldier from Earth's army. She wore her best uniform, with shiny medals, but Jake knew it meant nothing here. Earth's weapons were toys compared to what the aliens had. Some aliens could move planets with their minds. Others had ships bigger than Earth's moon. Next to Lisa was Helen Carter, Earth's smartest person when it came to studying aliens. She whispered to Jake, "The floating ones are turning blue. That means they agree with the Star Empire." Jake looked at the jellyfish aliens and saw she was right. Their bodies were glowing blue, which meant they would vote against the humans. He had seen this happen too many times before. The Star Empire's general stood up. His name was Kefmor, and he was 3 times taller than any human. His skin looked like armor, and he had 4 arms instead of 2. When he talked, his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "The humans have broken the first law," Kefmor said, waving all 4 arms in the air. "New Horizon sits in our old territory. We want them gone, and we want them to pay us money for being there." Jake's hands became fists. The first law was signed 1,000,000 years ago, before humans had even learned to grow food. The idea that it should control what happened today was crazy. But the Council always said the old laws were more important than being fair. Helen leaned close to Jake's ear. "The rock people are getting ready to agree too. Look at how they're sitting." Jake looked at the stone aliens and saw they were leaning forward slightly. In their culture, this meant they were about to say yes to something. Soon, every alien in the room would vote to kick humans off another world. The High Judge's light grew brighter. "The Council thinks the Star Empire might be right about the old law, but we will let the humans speak before we decide." This was Jake's chance. He had prepared for this moment, knowing that what he said next could decide humanity's future in the galaxy. But as he looked around the room, he saw the same hateful looks he had seen for 30 years. The aliens treated humans like children who didn't know anything about the real world. For 30 years, Jake had followed their rules. He had bowed to their ancient laws and watched as human worlds were stolen one by one. The Council treated humanity like they were too young and stupid to deserve the same rights as other species. But today, something inside Jake finally broke. He was tired of being a light to beings who would never treat humans fairly. He was tired of begging for mercy from creatures who saw humans as nothing more than annoying insects. Jake stepped forward and spoke in a clear, strong voice. "Great Council, I have been Earth's speaker for 30 years. In that time, I have watched you rule against humans again and again. You don't do this because we are wrong. You do it because you think new species don't deserve to be treated fairly. Noise filled the room as aliens began talking to each other in dozens of different languages. This was not how humans usually talk to the council. Humans were supposed to be respectful and quiet. Today, I don't come here to beg, Jake continued, his voice getting stronger. Today, I tell you that humanity is done with your treaties and laws. And if you try to take our worlds by force, we will fight back. The room exploded with sound. Aliens were shouting and screaming in languages Jake couldn't understand. General Cathmore's 4 arms moved like he was getting ready to fight. The jellyfish aliens were flashing every color Jake had ever seen. The High Judge's light became so bright it hurt to look at. Her voice boomed over all the noise. Jake Morrison, you cannot be serious. Humans don't have enough weapons to fight even one member of the Star Empire. You could never fight all of us. Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. He felt the weight of his decision settling on his shoulders like heavy armor. High Judge, I guess we'll find out. The aliens stared at him in shock. No species had ever declared war on the entire galaxy before. It seemed impossible that humans, the youngest and weakest species, would even think about such a thing. But Jake was not crazy. He knew something the aliens didn't know. For 30 years, while humans had been acting like peaceful friends, Earth's best scientists had been working on secret projects. They had been studying alien technology, not to copy it, but to find ways to beat it. Every alien species in the galaxy was about to learn that humans were much more dangerous than they looked. The quiet, polite species that had been pushed around for 3 decades was about to show everyone what they could really do. Jake turned and walked toward the door, followed by Lisa and Helen. Behind them, the council room was filled with chaos, as aliens tried to figure out what had just happened. Some were angry, some were scared, and some were excited at the thought of crushing the foolish humans. But Jake wasn't worried. He had seen the fear in their eyes when he made his announcement. Deep down, the aliens knew that humans were different from other species. They just didn't know how different yet. As Jake left the building, he looked up at the alien sky filled with strange stars. Soon, every being in the galaxy would know that humanity was done being pushed around. The real war was about to begin, and it would be unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The emergency meeting of alien war leaders took place on a huge space station floating near a dead star. Fleet Commander Torgan of the Star Empire walked back and forth in front of big screens showing where human towns were located across 57 different star systems. The human speaker has clearly gone crazy, Torgan told the other alien commanders. No smart person would declare war against forces that have 10,000 times more ships than they do. Admiral Kyle Roberts was watching the alien talks from his hiding spot on the human warship Constitution. The massive ship was almost 2 kilometers long and was the best thing Earth's engineers had ever built. But even Kyle knew that one ship could not fight against the huge alien armies now gathering to destroy humanity. Admiral Sue Collins appeared on Kyle's communication screen from the Mars space base. Her tired face showed how hard she was working to get humanity ready for the coming war. Kyle, what are the aliens doing? It's as bad as we thought it would be, Kyle replied, looking at his battle screens. The Star Empire is bringing everything they have. 300 heavy warships, 200 living bioships, and at least 50 planet destroyer ships. Our spies say they plan to attack all major human worlds at the same time. What the aliens did not know was that humanity had not been sitting around doing nothing during their 30 years in the galaxy. While acting like a peaceful species that wanted to be friends, human scientists and engineers had been working on secret projects that would have scared the aliens if they had known about them. Dr. Ben Taylor was the head of the secret Prometheus research project. He stood deep underground in a mountain on Earth, surrounded by technology that mixed human ideas with carefully stolen alien science. For years, his team had been studying captured alien technology, not to copy it, but to find ways to stop it from working. Admiral Roberts. Ben's voice came through the secret communication line. Project Prometheus is ready to use. All colony worlds now have the new defense systems. The Prometheus technology was humanity's biggest secret. While alien species had spent millions of years building bigger and stronger weapons, human engineers had done something different. They had created machines that could break the basic technology that all alien civilizations used, the jellyfish. Aliens used living ships that connected directly to their brains. The Rock People's planet destroyers used controlled gravity to break worlds apart. The Star Empire's entire fleet depended on their advanced energy shields. Each of these technologies had a weakness, a special frequency that could be used to make them stop working. Captain Dan Wilson was in charge of defending New Horizon Colony. He watched as the first wave of enemy ships came out of hyperspace at the edge of his star system. 200 alien ships, their metal hulls shining with the promise of total destruction, began moving toward the human settlement. All the civilians had been moved to underground shelters, leaving only the soldiers to face what everyone thought would be humanity's first and last battle as a free species. Dan stood on the bridge of his defense station, a small building compared to the alien armada coming toward them. "Sir," his communication officer said, "the alien fleet is demanding that we give up right now. They're giving us 10 minutes to answer." Dan smiled grimly and turned on the colony's new defense systems. Hidden under New Horizon's surface, the Prometheus machines began to hum with power. Similar devices on human colonies across the galaxy were turning on at the same time, getting ready to show that humanity had learned much more from their alien neighbors than anyone had thought possible. "Send them a message," Dan ordered. "Tell them that New Horizon Colony says no thank you to their kind offer." The alien fleet did exactly what Dan expected. They launched a massive attack of energy beams and explosive missiles that should have turned the human colony into burning dust. But when the weapons hit New Horizon's defensive barrier, something amazing happened. Instead of just stopping or bouncing off the incoming fire, the Prometheus field began to vibrate at special frequencies. The energy from the alien weapons was caught and made stronger, then sent back out at wavelengths designed specifically to break alien technology. On the Star Empire flagship, Admiral Torgan watched in disbelief as his energy shields began to flicker and fail. "What magic is this?" he roared, pounding his 4 fists on his command desk. The jellyfish bioships had it even worse. Their living hulls began to shake and twist as the brain networks that controlled their systems overloaded. Several ships lost all power and began floating helplessly through space. The Rock People's planet crackers, massive ships designed to break worlds with focused gravity beams, found their own weapons turning against them as the Prometheus field disrupted their gravity controls. Within minutes, a mighty alien fleet was reduced to a collection of floating wrecks and panicking crews. Not a single human had been hurt, while the alien armada faced complete system failure. The same scenes happened across dozens of star systems as human colonies revealed their hidden defensive abilities. The galaxy's military might, built on millions of years of technological progress, proved useless against humanity's new approach to warfare. But the most shocking part was not that humans had won. It was how they had won. Instead of destroying the alien ships, the human defenses had simply turned them off. When alien crews sent out distress calls, human rescue ships arrived to help them. Human doctors treated wounded alien soldiers. Human engineers helped repair damaged alien systems. The aliens had come to destroy humanity, but when they found themselves helpless and defeated, humans responded with kindness and aid. It was a level of mercy and wisdom that many alien species had not shown in millions of years of galactic history. News of the impossible human victory spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Species that had ruled for eons suddenly faced the reality that their ancient power meant nothing against human innovation. The youngest species in the galaxy had just proven they were also the most dangerous. But perhaps more importantly, they had also proven they were the most merciful. As alien survivors returned home with stories of human kindness and victory, many began to wonder if they had been wrong about these strange new beings from the small blue planet. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had announced their arrival as a major power, and they had done it in the most human way possible, by being both impossibly clever and surprisingly kind at the same time. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council happened in complete chaos. For the first time in millions of years, a new species had not only fought back against the old powers, but had won without killing anyone. The carefully built system of galactic power had been broken in just one day. High Judge Zix Thala's energy field flickered with patterns that alien doctors recognized as extreme fear. Around the meeting room, representatives from dozens of species showed their own versions of shock and confusion. The galaxy they had known for so long was gone forever. Jake Morrison entered the room with Admiral Kyle Roberts and Dr. Ben Taylor walking beside him. The human group walked with quiet confidence that was very different from the upset aliens. Around them, Jake had thrown away his fancy diplomatic clothes and now wore a simple military uniform, showing that humanity had changed from begging to demanding equal treatment. The council recognizes Jake Morrison, Zix Thala announced, her translated voice carrying sounds of barely controlled panic. We demand an explanation for the unprovoked attack on our forces. Jake stepped forward, his calm behavior a sharp contrast to the chaos around him. Hi, Judge. I must correct what you just said. Humanity did not attack anyone. We simply defended our colonies against illegal aggression using defensive technologies. General Kethmore, his armor shell bearing burn marks from his flagships. Emergency Escape rose unsteadily to his feet. Defensive? Your cursed technology disabled our entire fleet. Hundreds of ships left powerless in space. And yet, Jake replied smoothly, not a single alien life was lost. Our defensive systems could have easily destroyed your ships, but we chose to merely disable them. We provided coordinates for rescue operations and even helped evacuate damaged vessels. This was true, and it was perhaps the most disturbing part of the whole event from the aliens' perspective. Humanity had shown the ability to neutralize the galaxy's most powerful military forces while simultaneously showing remarkable restraint. It suggested a level of technological sophistication and strategic thinking that no one had imagined the young species possessed. Dr. Patricia Hayes, representing the ghostly science group, flickered into visible form to address the assembly. Her species had remained neutral in most galactic conflicts, preferring to watch and study rather than participate in politics. The human technology appears to operate on principles we do not understand, she reported, her ethereal voice carrying scientific fascination mixed with concern. Our analysis suggests they have developed methods to disrupt fundamental quantum structures that underlie most galactic technologies. The implications were staggering. If humanity could disable alien technology at will, then the entire structure of galactic civilization was vulnerable. Trade routes protected by alien military forces, planetary defenses, even the basic infrastructure of advanced civilizations could be rendered useless. Jake sensed the fear spreading through the room and decided to address it directly. The Council seems concerned about humanity's defensive capabilities. Let me be clear about our intentions. We have no desire to conquer other species or disrupt galactic civilization. We simply demand to be treated as equals. He pointed to the massive display showing human colony locations. For 30 years, This body has systematically stripped away human settlements, citing ancient laws and treaties that predate our species. Emergence into galactic society. You have treated us as children, unworthy of the same rights and protections afforded to established species. The jellyfish representative, Ambassador Fluxandra, displayed patterns of cautious inquiry. What exactly are humanity's demands? Simple, Jake replied. Recognition of human sovereignty over all currently settled worlds, equal representation in galactic institutions, and the right to expand our colonies without interference based on million-year-old territorial claims. The room exploded in debates conducted in dozens of languages. The older species, accustomed to their privileged positions in galactic hierarchy, struggled with the concept of granting equal status to humanity. But the demonstration of human military capability had fundamentally altered the balance of power. Rock People's representative, a being called Granite Speaker, slowly stood up. When his species moved, it usually meant something very important was about to be said. The humans speak of equality, but they hold weapons that make all our defenses useless. How can there be equality when one side holds such power? Jake nodded respectfully to the stone being. Granite Speaker raises a valid concern. But consider this. We could have destroyed every ship in that fleet. We could have conquered your homeworlds while your armies drifted helpless in space. Instead, we offered aid and rescue. Power without restraint is tyranny. Power with mercy is leadership. These words sent waves of discussion through the assembly. Many species had ruled through fear and force for so long that they had forgotten what leadership with compassion looked like. The humans had demonstrated both overwhelming capability and remarkable self-control. Admiral Kyle Roberts stepped forward, his uniform bearing the insignia of the United Earth Defense Force. The Council should also know that Earth's defensive network is now fully operational. Any attempt to coerce humanity through military force will be met with appropriate responses. The threat was clear, even if diplomatically phrased. Humanity now possessed the ability to defend itself against any galactic power, and they were prepared to use that capability if necessary. High Judge Zix Thala's energy field pulsed as she consulted with her advisors. The Galactic Council had survived for over 1 million years by maintaining stability through established hierarchies and ancient precedents. But humanity's emergence as a major power threatened to upend everything they had built. The Council will consider humanity's requests, Zix Thala announced finally. However, we cannot simply ignore the established order that has maintained galactic peace for eons. Jake smiled grimly. High Judge, with respect, your established order has been maintained through the subjugation of younger species and the younger species and the young monopolization of power by ancient civilizations. If you truly value galactic peace, you will recognize that the old ways are no longer viable. Dr. Ben Taylor spoke for the first time during the session. We have shared some of our defensive technology with our rescue teams to help alien survivors. Several species have already begun studying how our systems work. We are prepared to share more, but only with those who recognize humanity's equal status. This was a masterstroke of diplomacy. Humanity was offering the very technology that had defeated the aliens, but only to those willing to treat them as equals. It was both a carrot and a stick, offering cooperation while maintaining the threat of isolation for those who refused that. As the session continued, it became clear that the galaxy stood at a crossroads. The old order, based on age and established power, was crumbling in the face of human innovation and determination. What would emerge from the chaos remained to be seen, but one thing was certain. Humanity had announced its arrival as a major galactic power, and the universe would never be the same. 6 months after what history books would later call the Great Awakening, Jake Morrison stood once again before the Galactic Council. But this time, The meeting room had been completely changed to show humanity's new status as a major galactic power. The human group now sat in a place of honor, equal to the oldest and most powerful species in the galaxy. The change had not been easy. 3 different military groups had tried to organize attacks against human colonies, only to have their fleets disabled by the growing network of Prometheus defensive systems. The Star Empire had broken apart as member species blamed each other for the terrible failure of their so-called invincible armada. High Judge Zixthala had been replaced by a council of 5 representatives from different galactic regions, including Commander Lisa Hayes as humanity's first representative to the new Galactic Leadership Council. The change showed the end of the old system, where age determined power, and the beginning of a fairer approach. To Galactic Government. Jake spoke to the Assembly with quiet satisfaction. Today marks the signing of the new Galactic Agreement, a document that recognizes the basic equality of all thinking species, regardless of their age or where their technology came from. The agreement represented a complete rebuilding of galactic civilization. Ancient land claims were replaced by current occupation rights. Species hierarchies based on age and technological achievement were thrown out in favor of democratic representation. Most importantly, the use of military force to solve territorial disputes was banned, with enforcement guaranteed by humanity's defensive network. Dr. Ben Taylor, now serving as Director of Galactic Technology Exchange, had overseen the controlled release of human innovations to other species. Rather than keeping their technological advantages secret, humanity had chosen to share their knowledge in exchange for access to alien scientific databases and cultural records. The results had been remarkable. Jellyfish bioships combined with human quantum technology achieved unprecedented efficiency. Rock people gravitational engineering mixed with human field manipulation opened new possibilities for changing planets and building new worlds. Even the proud Star Empire had quietly begun adding human defensive systems to their fleet designs. Admiral Kyle Roberts, now commanding the combined Galactic Defense Force, reported on the new security arrangements. The Prometheus network has been expanded to protect all member worlds, regardless of species. We have also established joint training programs to ensure that all species can contribute to galactic security. The irony was not lost on observers that humanity, the youngest galactic species, had become the protector of civilizations millions of years older. But the effectiveness of human defensive technology was undeniable, and even former enemies had come to appreciate the protection it provided. Captain Don Wilson, hero of the New Horizon Defense, now served as governor of the expanded colony. The settlement had grown from a modest research outpost to a thriving multicultural city, home to humans and aliens working together in ways never seen before. The integration has exceeded all expectations, Dan reported through subspace communication. We now have jellyfish biotechnology labs working alongside human quantum research facilities. The Rock people have established a gravitational engineering school, and even some Star Empire warriors have joined our planetary defense force. But perhaps the most significant change was in humanity itself. The revelation of their defensive capabilities had been accompanied by a broader awakening of human potential. No longer content to play the role of junior partners in galactic civilization, humans had begun to explore their own unique approaches to science, philosophy, and culture. Helen Carter, now heading the Institute for Alien Studies, had documented the psychological transformation of the human species. We spent 30 years trying to fit into alien ways of thinking, accepting their definitions of civilization and progress. The Declaration of Independence forced us to define our own path and discover our own strengths. Those strengths had proven considerable. Human adaptability, creativity, and willingness to challenge established assumptions had brought fresh perspectives to problems that had plagued galactic civilization for millennia. Trade disputes that had festered for thousands of years were resolved through human mediation. Scientific challenges that had stumped alien researchers for generations yielded to human innovation. The ghostly whispers of space, perhaps the most. Ancient and mysterious species in the galaxy had offered their own assessment of humanity's impact. Speaking through their ethereal representative, they observed, "In all our eons of existence, we have never encountered a species that so rapidly transformed from student to teacher. Humanity brings something new to the galactic community, the courage to question everything and the wisdom to build something better." The transformation was visible everywhere. On the former Star Empire worlds, human mediators helped resolve centuries-old conflicts between different alien groups. In the jellyfish territories, human engineers worked alongside biotechnicians to create new forms of living technology that neither species could have developed alone. Even more impressive was the cultural exchange taking place. Human art forms, like music and painting, were being adapted by alien species in ways that created entirely new forms of expression. Alien philosophy and meditation techniques were helping humans develop new ways of thinking about consciousness and reality. Jake looked around the council chamber and marveled at how much had changed. Where once there had been rigid hierarchies and ancient prejudices, there was now genuine cooperation and mutual respect. Species that had barely tolerated each other for millions of years were now working together on projects that benefited everyone. The old galaxy was built on fear, Jake said in his closing remarks. Fear of change, fear of new ideas, fear of losing power. The new galaxy we are building together is based on hope. Hope for better solutions, hope for greater understanding, hope for a future where all species can thrive. The applause that followed came from hundreds of different species, each expressing approval in their own unique way. The jellyfish flashed brilliant colors. The rock people hummed in harmonic frequencies, and the ghostly beings flickered in patterns of joy. As Jake concluded his address to the Galactic Council, he reflected on the journey that had brought humanity to this moment. A single act of defiance, born from frustration with an unjust system, had transformed not only humanity's position in the galaxy, but the entire structure of galactic civilization. The old order, built on ancient hierarchies and outdated assumptions, had given way to something new and unprecedented. The galaxy now embraced diversity, innovation, and equality in ways that would have been unimaginable just a year earlier. But Jake knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven that even the youngest species could challenge the established order and create something better. As the galaxy continued to evolve under the influence of human innovation and idealism, who knew what new wonders and achievements lay ahead among the stars?